So I want to start here today where my heart is really heavy and where it's burning the most, right here in Jerusalem. And with this past week, terrorists opened fire on innocent people in the holy city of Jerusalem. 6 lives is what I was told before. I'm hearing that it may be up to 7 because there were those who were injured that had been taken. There was families obviously shattered, dreams destroyed. And yet too much of the world it's just another headline, something that they just scroll past, and they don't feel the blood on the streets, and they don't hear the screams of the families, and they don't, see the children left behind without parents. And I want to tell you right now, this is not random. This is not resistance either. This is not desperation. This is indoctrination. This is ideology. This is a system that produces death. It nurtures hatred. And it tries to sell the whole entire world that this is justice. I want to be very clear with all of you. Terrorism does not happen in a vacuum. Terrorism is not born in the desert. It is bred in the living rooms, in the classrooms, in the sermons, and news propaganda. This is all throughout the society. And we all know this. We can stop faking. We've seen the polls. After October 7th, when Hamas butchered 1,200 innocent men, women, children, 70 to 80%, I believe the numbers were, of Palestinian Arabs supported them. This is not a fringe. That's a mainstream. This is what happens in this society. And we can ignore it if we want to. But this is what is really going on in the society. And the world needs to hear the truth. So when you hear Western media start talking about this and they say, oh, the majority of Palestinians don't want Hamas, they're victims too, they just want peace, ask yourself, then why did they elect Hamas in the first place in 2006? Why did they celebrate in the streets on October 7th? Remember, it was not just Hamas that came into these areas, into these kibbutzim, butchering, murdering, badgering, kidnapping. This was not just Hamas. This was also the Palestinian population that came out of Gaza with them. Video footage. So why did their schools teach about Jews and teach that they're pigs and they're monkeys? Why do they name the streets after terrorists? If they want peace, why are the streets named after these terrorists? Why do the mothers say on camera that they're so proud when their sons blow themselves up on buses full of women and children? This is not an exception. This is the rule. And it's time that we stop lying to ourselves. Now, the world wants to lecture Israel right now. The world is lecturing Israel. And they say that if you keep fighting, you'll just provoke more terror. I want you to hear how insane this actually sounds. That's like telling a woman who's being abused by her husband, well, if you just stop resisting, he'll calm down. It's not compassion at all. This is enabling evil. And I'll tell you something else. When people say, oh, this will just keep happening if you don't stop fighting them. What are they really saying when they're saying this? What are they really saying? This is just who they are. Violence is baked into them. You should accept it. Now that's racism. That's demeaning. That's basically saying that these Palestinian Arabs are born killers, so don't provoke them. And I myself, I reject that. I'll tell you, here's the real truth. This is a culture problem. This culture has chosen death. They have chosen Hamas. They have chosen jihad. And if they want a different life, they need to make a different choice. It's as simple as that. But until then, Israel has every moral right to defend itself, and not just defend itself, but to uproot the ideology that fuels this bloodshed. I want to give you some of my own solutions, because too often we just get these despicable people on TV describing the problem. People say, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to deport millions of people? And I say, why not? Why not? Listen, I'm sorry to stop the show for a second. I just want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Market Ding. Look, in today's world, if people can't find you online, then you don't exist. That's where Market Ding comes in. They're a digital marketing and SEO company. They used to dominate healthcare, but now they dominate just about everything. Whether you're running a business or a brand or even a podcast like mine, Market Ding knows how to get you found fast. So don't just show up online, grow online. So visit marketding.com today and watch your growth online explode. Okay, back to the show. Nations have relocated populations before, some tragically, sometimes unjustly. But if there's a group living inside your borders that does not recognize your right to exist, that actively tries to kill your citizens, what nation on earth would tolerate that? I can't think of any. Maybe Europe. But think about this. Think about America after 9/11. This is the obvious comparison. So this is why it's always brought up. This is why I always bring it up in others. It's an obvious comparison. If you can imagine that 80% of the Muslims in New York City had openly said that they supported Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda right after the attacks of 9/11, would America have tolerated that? I have to ask for back then, obviously, because today we're living in a different America, or you're living in a different America. Would they have just said, well, we'll just keep living with them and hopefully they'll change their minds? Of course they wouldn't have. America would have moved heaven and earth to eliminate the threat. But Israel is told, from everybody almost, except for Trump maybe, no, you have to live with this and you have to endure this. You have to, take the moral high road. All of this is nonsense. Israel's moral high road is to protect its citizens. Israel's moral duty is to make sure that Jewish children can walk to school without the fear of being harmed. That families can shop in the market without the fear of there being a bomb. That people who worship God can go and pray at the Western Wall without being shot at. That is morality, and that is justice. And another thing, unfortunately, would probably make these liberals uncomfortable. Deportation has to be on the table. Because if someone in this land is actively supporting terror, if they are waving Hamas flags, if they are posting on social media praising murder, if they are raising children to be martyrs, then they do not belong here. Period. You don't get to live in a country while calling for its destruction. None of it makes any sense even. I'm trying to understand by which metric this would be okay. And let's not forget, Gaza was given to these Palestinian Arabs. Israel pulled out in 2005. They uprooted thousands of Jewish families, handed the land over against their will to their own citizens. And what did the Palestinians do? Did they build schools? Did they build hospitals? Did they build businesses? These things are things that you do when you are trying to build up your people, build up your land, when your true objective was actually peace. That's what a population does. They didn't do that. They built terror tunnels. They stockpiled rockets. They trained children soldiers. They turned Gaza into a launch pad for jihad. This is the reality. And we have to keep saying it until people get it inside their head. So don't tell me or anybody else that this is about land or it's about wanting peace. It's not about land. It's about an ideology. This is the way people think. This is their culture. It's about theology. It's about the hatred of Jews. It's been drilled into them generation after generation. And until that changes, there will be no peace. The blood in Jerusalem cries out. It cries out against the lie that these attacks are understandable. This is reasonable resistance. It cries out against all these cowardice nations who are lecturing Israel, why they do nothing to stop the terror itself. And it cries out for the justice, true justice, God's justice, the justice that says evil must be confronted and not be appeased. And as Jews and as believers, we know where this is headed. The prophets already told us. They said that the nations will come up against Jerusalem. Keep watching this reoccurring theme. They said that the truth is going to be twisted. Keep watching, because it's happening in front of our eyes. But they also told us in the end, Hashem will vindicate his people. So we take courage. Even as we mourn, we will take courage, because we know that Hashem is still on the throne. I just want to let you know that we have launched Nissim Black Store. All you have to do is go online, order yourself one of these amazing mugs, God is King, with a matching t-shirt. We have a whole plethora of different shirts that are all about representing God wherever you go. As believers in the one true God of Israel, it is our duty not to hide, not to back down, not to shy away from expressing our faith wherever it is that we go. If you want to go and walk righteously before your God with a nice t-shirt, with a nice sweater, with a mug that's reminding us constantly that God is here with us, go to nissimblack.store and make sure you get yourself some merch. It really helps support this channel and everything that we're doing and everything that we plan to do. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. I thank you all for all of your support. So wait, if you like what you just saw, click this one right here. And if you'd rather hear the full episode, you could just click right here. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when any new episodes of the podcast is released, you will be amongst the first to know.